Hello everyone, hope we are doing well. Two articles in one today, both concerning Declan Rice. The first one from Fabrizio Romano, well, a tweet rather than an article from Fabrizio. Our friend Fabrizio, can we call him a friend? He came on one video, I'm going to call him a friend. Our friend Fabrizio Romano confirmed that Declan Rice rejected a third contract offer from West Ham United. Now this has basically been backed up by David Moyes. Moyes got asked about it and he certainly didn't dispute the claims that Declan Rice had rejected a third contract. So I think it's safe to say it's confirmed. Declan Rice has rejected a third contract offer from West Ham United. Now, off the back of that tweet from Fabrizio, article after article after article came. The dominoes started falling. Chinese whispers surrounding Declan Rice. But in the last half hour, the Telegraph have put up their article, which has got Matt Law claiming Manchester City want Declan Rice. Not only that, Manchester City want Declan Rice so much, they've already contacted West Ham to sort of signal their intent to try and purchase him this summer. But they're a little bit wary of the Harry Kane situation. Obviously, last summer, Spurs named their price for Harry Kane of 150 million. And Manchester City, they weren't too keen. They balked at it a little bit. They flirted. They put in some bids that got rejected. Harry Kane went AWOL. But at the end of the day, window shut because Spurs stuck to their price. Man City didn't meet it. Harry Kane remained at Tottenham. So City are a little bit wary of that happening with Declan Rice and West Ham. So we're going to be discussing those two things. But before we do, this video is sponsored by the One Football app, which is the best way to keep up to date with everything going on at your club. Whether you're a Man City fan, a West Ham fan, or you support someone else. It's completely free. Links in the description, pinned comments. Get it downloaded. Now, obviously, as West Ham fans, we're looking ahead to Thursday night. We're taking on Frankfurt. And if you don't know much about Frankfurt, you can find out on the One Football app. When you go into it, you can click on competitions, click on the Bundesliga, scroll down the league table a little bit. You'll find Frankfurt there. Click on that and you can have a look at their latest results. You can click on the squad, see who they've got in their team these days, how they're getting on recently, their statistics, goals scored, goals against. Everything that you need for Frankfurt is on the One Football app. And of course, you can keep up to date with the latest news around West Ham. Crossing our fingers for some good positive injury news surrounding Kurt Zouma and Declan Rice's contract, I guess. Anyway, everything is on the One Football app, the best football app for the football fan, in my opinion. Link in description, pinned comments. Get it downloaded today. So, Fabrizio Romano, he tweeted about Declan Rice rejecting that contract. David Moyes has basically confirmed that it was true. And I have to say, I'm not that worried. I'm not concerned. I don't think West Ham fans are at all. It's almost not news to us. And even if they're rejecting the third contract was news, the fact that Declan Rice won't sign yet, that bit is not news. And I don't think it's too worrying. There's other clubs out there struggling to sign contracts with their big players at the moment. Manchester United with Paul Pogba. Chelsea with Rudiger. Rudiger's confirmed he's leaving Chelsea as well. So this whole big player not signing a new deal thing is probably more worrying for other clubs than it is for West Ham at the minute. Because we've still got 3 years of Declan Rice left in terms of contract after this season. What Moyes said intrigued me, to be honest with you. Moyes basically said, I sold Wayne Rooney at Everton, we became a better team for him. And that's the first time I've really got a sense of we may sell him from David Moyes. Moyes has always said that he's not for sale or you'll need the money from the Bank of England kind of thing. That, recently he said he was 100 million last summer. He's not 100 million anymore. He would have been cheap to buy 100 million. He's always sort of said hands off Declan Rice, but that was the first time, the press conference was the first time I sort of heard him sort of say something along the lines of, we're hoping to sell him. He didn't seem too bothered that Declan Rice hadn't signed a new deal, and why should he be? I'm not too bothered either. We've always known how the land lies with Declan. We've always known his ambition, which is to win the Premier League and the Champions League. Now, if we win the Europa League, I'd like to think Declan may sign a new contract at the end of the summer, and the reason I say at the end of the summer it's because we know Declan Rice is ambitious. I wouldn't blame him at all if we won the Europa League, if he sort of sat back and said, well, I'm going to wait and see who you sign. I'm not going to, if a club comes in, fair enough, I'm still not going to sign a new deal. But however, if I see some intent from West Ham, if I see some form of ambition in the transfer market, then I may sign a new deal. Now, I've seen an article since, and I said I wouldn't talk about it, but it's kind of hard to ignore. Almost making on that Declan Rice is a bit of a money grabber, to be honest with you, and I don't like it. That doesn't sit well with me at all, because money grabbing is the last impression I've had from Declan Rice in this whole, will he sign a new deal, won't he? Because if he was just after money, he would have signed the first contract or the second contract and offer to him. He's been offered over 100 grand a week, I believe, and he's rejected it. Now, if he wanted money, he'd have signed that and still left anyway, because we all joke about how contracts aren't worth the paper they're printed on these days and stuff, and if a player wants to leave, he will leave regardless of how many years he's got left. I've always felt that Declan Rice won't sign a new deal because it's unfair. It's unfair on West Ham. Yeah, I'll sign that 5-year contract, but I only intend to stay for another 6 months. And I've always thought fair play to Declan Rice to some extent, because he's made it clear indirectly that he wishes to move on and win things, and in the meantime he's not going to take the piss. He's not going to sign a new deal, take as much money out of the club as possible. His wage at the minute is relatively low for somebody of that ability, for somebody of that importance to the club. I'm not going to necessarily, he's not poor obviously, but I think he's handled this really well, Declan. I do think he's handled this whole situation really, really well. And to see an article from a fan site as well, almost accusing him of being a money grabber, I don't like it. It does, especially in the week coming up to the biggest game in our recent history at West Ham United. I'm aware I'm doing a video talking about it, but I like to think I'm talking about it in a positive form, and I'm not accusing Declan of anything like that. But anyway, that's that side of it. So Fabrizio Romano confirmed Declan Rice projected a third contract offer from West Ham United. Move that. Today's one, the new one. Now this is new. The Man City being interested in Declan Rice, and whenever we've discussed the possibility of it in the past, we've always sort of dismissed Manchester City as a likely destination for Declan due to Rodri. You know, we look at Man U and say, well, they definitely need a centre midfielder. However, they're a bit of a mess. Chelsea, of course, Declan would like to go there, but they've got the ownership thing hanging over them at the minute. Liverpool, they can't afford him. It's not worth Liverpool paying that much money to go get Declan. And to some extent, this is going to sound a bit weird, Liverpool are better than that in the transfer market. Liverpool are better at going and finding the 40, 50 million pound players rather than paying the 100, 150 million. They go get someone and turn them into a superstar, whereas Man City can't afford to go get the ready-made superstars. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So I guess the big question is, do you believe that Man City want Declan Rice? I'm not sure I do. I'm still not sure I believe them. We all know Man City are going to sign Haaland this summer. 75 million. A decent fee, but it's not breaking the bank, is it? They've obviously got the other forward as well. His name escapes me, that they've already signed from Argentina, that he's still out there and he's going to join them up in the summer. There's talks that Jesus will be leaving Man City, likely heading to Arsenal. That'll obviously not pay the Haaland fee, but they'll get half the money back up straight away, won't they? So their net's already down at 30, 40 million kind of thing. So could you see City spending another 100 million on top of that? Of course you can. Of course you can. Man City, they can afford it. They'll find a sponsorship deal from somewhere to fund it. But do they need Declan Rice? It's Rodri, innit? You look at Rodri, the guy's class. He's world class, Rodri. Do they need Declan Rice? And it's hard to sort of convince myself that they do. Is Declan Rice good enough for Man City? Yes, absolutely. I think Pep would love Declan Rice in that midfield. Pep's spoken highly of Declan Rice in the past as well, but then so is Jurgen Klopp. It doesn't mean anything, does it? To some extent. Maybe it means something when Klopp speaks about Jared Bowen, but not Declan Rice. I know, I'm aware Fernandinho's leaving Man City. Another big player leaving. You know, so caught Pep off guard in that press conference, didn't he? Saying that he was gone in the summer. So Man City need to get somebody in that can play defensive midfield. They need somebody in, but they're not replacing Rodri. They're replacing Fernandinho, who has been a fantastic servant to Man City. Don't get me wrong, he was world class, but he's not anymore. He's a squad player now, similar to Martin Noble at West Ham. When we go to replace Martin Noble this summer, are we going to go out and smash our transfer record to get somebody in? No, because we don't need to. There's probably hopes among the club that Conor Coventry can just come back from MK Dons and replace Martin Noble as a third, fourth choice centre midfielder for next season in Premier League. Is he good enough? I don't know. That's a separate discussion. But you know what my point is? They're replacing Fernandinho here. You don't need to go get Declan Rice to do that. They've probably got someone in the academy that could step into that role. I'd be surprised if they don't have an under-23s player that can step into that role. So, Declan to Man City? I can't see it. I really can't. To be fair, if he was to go to one of the sort of European Super League 6 in the Premier League, Man City is a club I'd like him to go to and have success there, because he's almost guaranteed to win trophies at that club, because there's only 2 teams in England that Declan Rice is guaranteed to go to and win some form of trophies in the next 2 or 3 seasons. Man City and Liverpool, that's it. Chelsea likely to win stuff, but you don't know. Man U, listen, I'm a big fan of Erik ten Hag, but that's a project he's got on his hands there. That's not an instant success. You've got to give him 3 years before you expect something on the table in terms of silverware. Arsenal, again, Arteta looks like he's doing some good work there, but it's going to take a couple of years. And then you look at Tottenham, and while they look like favourites for going forth, they're doing their best to throw it away. Plus, there's a lot of talk that Conte's off to PSG again. So I don't know. Declan Rice to Man City, I just can't. I've almost tried to convince myself that I could see it happening. I just can't. The one thing that makes me a little bit wary of it, because like Fabrizio Romano, you guys know I like Fabrizio Romano. I think he's a good source. I think the difference with him and every other journalist is he values accuracy over being first. Accuracy over exclusivity. So he may not be first to the news, but he waits, he uses his sources to find out the news kind of thing, then he puts it out there, and it's, I want to say factual, but it's as close to factual as you're going to get from a journalist without it being official. Does that make sense? But with Matt Law, we know he's got good links to Declan Rice somehow. I'm not sure what the link is between Matt Law and Declan Rice. But he's got one there. It was him that he put the news out of Declan Rice rejecting the second contract offer from West Ham, which turned out to be correct. So Matt Law's got decent sources in regards to Declan Rice. But does he have decent sources in regards to Man City wanting Declan Rice? I'm not too sure. Maybe, and I'm just putting this out there hypothetically, thinking out loud right now. Maybe it was West Ham that's put it out there to almost spark a bidding war to some extent. I'm not sure. Lots to come, but like I said, the more interesting thing for me this weekend was David Moyes almost suggesting the sale of Declan Rice wouldn't be a bad thing at West Ham, and that's the first time I've heard him say that. Usually it's hands off. Usually it's he's going to cost 150 million. He's always spoke about, whenever he spoke about price, David Moyes, it's a hands off message. But for the first time he said something, and like I said, it was just one thing, and I'm taking out of context. I've seen the rest of it as well. I'm taking out of context here, which was when I sold Wayne Rooney at Everton, we were better for it to some extent. I just found that interesting, I guess. He also asked who's the one that leaked the Declan Rice news. When he got told it was Fabrizio Romano, he just joked and said, so it wasn't one of the local boys that got the news, because we certainly didn't put it out there, kind of thing. Interesting times. There's still a lot more twists and turns coming in Declan Rice's story, but as a fan, I'm hoping he stays with us, and I'm a bit hopeful that if we win the Europa League, he may stay beyond the summer. One thing that Declan Rice wants, we know what Declan Rice is. He's ambitious. So what does Declan Rice want to see? Ambition. Well, the January transfer window would suggest to him we're not that ambitious, but if we win the Europa League and we have a good summer transfer window, maybe, just maybe, not only will he stay, he may sign a new contract. And I'll tell you why he'll sign a new contract. Because of the success of winning the Europa League, because we're playing Champions League football next season, because of who we sign in the transfer window. And I'll tell you what it won't be because of money. It will not be because of the wages offered. Of course, that has an impact. He's not going to be signing for a £5 a week, is he? Of course, he's going to want to be paid adequately for his ability, for the importance to the club. But I don't think it's his priority, and that's a rare thing in football these days. And I just hate it being suggested that Declan Rice is only interested in money, when actually, if you listen to his interviews, he wants to win trophies. And what's the next thing that's important to him? Family. That's another reason. I'm not too sure about the Manchester thing. But anyway, before I go, we've got an offer on at the minute at Hammers Chat around Mark Noble. So we've got 3 Mark Noble products. If you use the code MN16, we'll give you 16% off, regardless of which product you buy, or if you buy all 3. So the first thing we've got is this mug, the Declan Rice Mark Noble celebration, when Declan Rice scored in the Europa League this season. And on the back it says the Master and Apprentice. We've got the Mark Noble Last Stand t-shirt, which you will see, Last Dance t-shirt, which you see myself wearing quite often in videos. I quite like it. There you go, Last Dance t-shirt. And we've also got the Noble and Rice celebration t-shirt. It's the same celebration as the mug, but just in t-shirt form. So there you go. Link to our online store is in the description. If you use the code MN16, you get 16% off any of those 3 items. Thank you to anybody that has purchased one. It helps us massively and allows us to then use the money to go and get more products created and designed. But I'm going to disappear. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe to your channel. Please leave your comments regarding the Declan Rice thing below. I'll be back a little later on tonight to have a little look at them and to get replying to you as well. Catch you in a bit.